Hey folks, MasakoX here. One of the biggest questions that floats around the Dragon Ball community has to do with Gohan, and why he did not go Super Saiyan when Piccolo nearly passed in the Frieza saga. That's a fair question. The emotional damage was had, much like how Goku had the same thing happening with Krillin not long after that. I wanted to up the ante as well. Have this happened during the Saiyan saga, when the returns on Super Saiyan would have been far greater, and Vegeta and Nappa would have been stopped much sooner, and the former being brought into some kind of line faster than we had previously expected. Yeah, the legendary Super Saiyan being a youngling, that would surely stop Vegeta from doing anything rash. For a while. But that also led to many other maladies which may end up not being that good. In the last part, Gohan had met his future self, albeit not realizing it. Future Gohan here had to do his best to keep his cool, and ensure that he didn't slip up talking to his past self. That wasn't part of the plan, he was meant to talk to his dad. Trunks in the original didn't have that issue. Yeah, it was intimidating to talk to Goku, but at least there was a level of disconnect, considering that Trunks never knew the future Goku, so there wasn't anything to compare to. Here though, talking to yourself is probably one of the biggest time paradoxes you can cause if you mess it up. Granted, Future Gohan did tell the past iteration of himself about the androids and how it was important to train for them in 3 years' time, yeah. That was a done deal and fairly easy to remember. But there might have been one thing that he forgot to mention, or more accurately, give. With the group ready to go and Vegeta AWOL for the moment, the androids began their push on Amembo Island, and Goku started to look a little tired and a little pained. What was going on? The future man hadn't said anything about Goku experiencing pain. Well, it'll become clear now as we resume. Goku is being chucked around by Android 19 like a rag doll, unable to resist his attacks. Nobody knew what was going on. How could Goku have been subjected to this level of a beating? Had the training been all for nothing? Surely it would have been enough to provide some kind of resistance, or maybe even nice dominance, but no. Goku was being bested by cardiac issues that came out of nowhere. His energy was quickly depleting, and Gero was starting to revel in his seemingly obvious control of the entire situation. You see, in this timeline, Gohan's Super Saiyan revelation happening early was picked up by the Doctor, and that nanodroid of his that was originally destroyed in the Saiyan saga during the Great Ape Attack of Vegeta, it's still there. Since then, it had kept tabs on everything, including the advancements of Super Saiyan after Gohan discovered it, and most importantly, all of the training they had done, of course prior to leaving for Yardrat. Yes, it would have been nice to have had that too, but the gap between the androids and the Dragon team, yeah, it was nowhere near as vast than in the original Z. In fact, the gap was now in the Doctor's favour, seemingly. Gero knew he would win, because Super Saiyan wasn't a surprise. But to see Goku struggling in general, that was the icing on the cake.
What's the matter? Your Super Saiyan powers failing you, Son Goku? Or is it something else?
Gero didn't care though, he didn't really want an answer, it was rhetorical. He just wanted to see Goku suffer, that was enough for him. The rest of the gang had no idea what to do. Especially now since Gero had let slip that he had been keeping an eye on all of them, and that their golden hair trick was nothing but an inconvenience that he had managed to counter, easily sidestep. The only salvo they had was the training they had undertaken on Yardrat. They could transmit behind Gero and, well no, he couldn't. They couldn't sense his energy to get a lock on him despite him being right there. And that was important. Focus training? Well, maybe. But what was making it worse was yet another gimmick of 19 and Gero. Their energy drain hands. Once Goku had stopped being able to evade the clown bot, 19 simply managed to grab hold of Goku's leg and start to absorb what little energy the Saiyan had left. There was nothing for it. They all had to call upon Piccolo for additional support. But Gohan was the only Super Saiyan left that could help. He can't leave them to... I'll go, said Tenshinhan, who stepped up. My understanding of instant transmission is such that I can get there quickest of all of us. I shall bring Piccolo back to help. Be quick! Right. With that, the Tricops left the Namek to bring Piccolo back. Gohan was panicking. He didn't know what to do. The future boy didn't help, but he then remembered. Sure, Gero knew about Super Saiyan, but surely he had no idea about full power Super Saiyan. He then recalled what his green friend had told him about keeping calm and being a strong fighter, No matter if the odds are slightly stacked against you, he wouldn't let him down. Now resolute and determined, the son of Goku rushed in and sucker punched 19 in the face, releasing his father from the bot's grasp. Goku collapsed to the floor and tried to catch his breath. He was barely conscious. He had already fallen out of Super Saiyan thanks to the drain and the condition that he was going under.
Dad, it's gonna be alright! Someone give him a sensu bean! Thanks, Gohan.
However, when Krillin had gotten Goku a sensu bean, it did nothing. It had no effect. This was the first time their reliable ace in the hole had been, well, unreliable. They had to get Goku to Capsule Corp. Perhaps Bulma had some kind of facility or tool or machine that could help Goku recover. Yajirobe offered to take him.
Don't worry, I got Goku out of a tricky situation before. I'll do it again.
With him transmitting out of there, it meant also he didn't actually have to fight anyone. It was up to Gohan to stop the androids. 19 circled round and prepared to engage Gohan head on. But Gohan was not only stronger than him, he was now in a very bad mood. He wasn't going to go berserk, but he was focused more than ever, and more than wanting to tear this machine limb from limb. Starting with his arms, knowing where to go, Gohan flew at a fantastic speed and grabbed 19's arms, yanking them off without really much thought. Oil spurted forth from the stumps, and the bot had no idea what just happened. It was a good thing it couldn't experience pain right now, and Gero, he was flummoxed.
Impossible! Super Saiyan should not be this effective! I did the calculations!
Calculations can only get you so far, Gero, said a serious youngster. Sometimes you get variables.
Math banter aside, 19 was incapacitated, and Gohan quickly did away with the thing as Gero watched on in horror. Despite him being able to counter Super Saiyan, Super Saiyan had a way of countering him. His day was about to get much worse when a certain prince came around and grabbed him from behind.
Hope I'm not too late, boy. I didn't want you to take away all the fun.
Gohan whipped around, as did the others. The prince was right there, and also a Super Saiyan. Was this a good thing? Whatever, it didn't really matter right now, since Gero was at least halted from either escaping or doing anything else. Back at Capsule Corp, Yajirobe had gotten Goku into the medical unit to find that Bulma hadn't returned from the mountain lab of Gero yet. Dr. Briefs was in charge here, telling the fighter to get Goku onto a stretcher and then into a bed that would treat him ASAP.
Not back yet? Why not?
Said the rotund Ronin.
Well, since Gero launched his attack, Bulma presumed that it would be the right time to enter and sabotage his base, perhaps. Sabotage? How would she be able to get in the first place?
Oh, Yajirobe, you forget who you're dealing with. My daughter is incredible. She'll find a way. But before Yajirobe could inquire or be paranoid anymore, Bulma came in over the radio to her father and reported back some interesting news.
Dad, you won't believe this. There's some more pods in here. 3 of them. I guess Gero was ready to call for backup. I've deactivated them and disconnected them from the main network.
Excellent work, sweetie. Are you going to bring them back here? If so, you better be quick. Goku's in a bad way.
Just give him a bean and get him back out there. What's the big deal?
Well, that's the thing. The beans didn't work.
What? I'll be right there.
A panicked Bulma quickly placed the android pods in a large hoi poi capsule and rushed out the door. In a way, she was pleased that her vigil had been useful to the cause after everyone had been doubting her for months. But the fact that Goku was down for the count and the sensu beans hadn't done its thing this time, this was a very serious matter. This made the whole experience bittersweet. Back at the fight, Gero had managed to catch Vegeta out, grabbing his leg with his free hand. Vegeta felt funny and suddenly stumbled due to a brief hazy moment because he wasn't informed about the energy drain. Gero used that chance to get free, kicking the prince back and escaping back to his lab to safety. This was now a mad dash for the heroes, them being unaware that their friend had managed to work her magic and spoil Gero's day even more. They were kept busy for a while since Gero gave off no energy. They had to wait for a time when they could see the doctor starting to make a run for it. Well, not all of them. Tenshinhan had returned with Piccolo and Dende in tow, and proceeded to Gero's lab to wait, since he could sense the others heading in that direction, and for the fact that Bulma had been talking about it non-stop. Surely it would have been wise to go there if they didn't know where else to go. Piccolo, or more accurately the Namekian savior, felt conflicted being back on Earth.
I missed it, sorta. It feels like home, and yet it doesn't anymore.
We don't have time for much reminiscing, Piccolo. Or whatever your name is. We gotta get into the lab.
I'll go. You get Dende to wherever Goku is and heal him up.
With that clear directive, Tenshinhan did what he was told and headed off for Goku, whilst the savior of Namek headed for the lab. Meanwhile, a time machine popped up where the fight with Gohan on 19 had just taken place, and future Gohan was now in a very panicked state. He had realized that he had forgotten to give his past self the heart medication to treat their father. He would have been back sooner, but the time machine wasn't ready. It needed 8 months to recharge and have enough fuel to make a round trip again. It was very difficult to make the stuff. Then, there was the imperfect science of navigation of time, which was still in its infancy. That was the first flight he'd ever done, which meant that getting back to the exact time that he had left to then fix his mistake was nigh on impossible. The best thing he could do now is get to the flashpoint and stop Goku from getting worse. Nobody was here. And the android, or what was left of it that was here, was not the one he remembered. Now Gohan was in a bind. Does he go help the others, or does he get to his father and give him the medicine? Great. There was nothing else for it. He rushed to Capsule Corp, where he could feel the flickering energy of his father fading. Dende and Tenshinhan arrived, the Triclops explaining the context, and told Bulma that the little green one had the ability to heal Goku, to which the engineer was most relieved about. I've not seen anything like this before. It's a virus that nobody on Earth has ever experienced. Goku is patient zero. I'd like to keep it that way. Do whatever you can. Dende proceeded to heal Goku as best he could, but it wasn't easy. This virus, this was a tricky beggar. Dende had to focus everything he had to make any progress. But just then, future Gohan showed up and presented the heart medicine. Give him this! Now! I'm so sorry! Nobody knew what to make of this guy, but Dende kept healing whilst Bulma took the vial. I mean, what other option did they have? And waited for Goku to show any sign of recovery. Upon further scans, what damage the virus had done already was quite sizable. Would he be able to recover? Or at least be stabilized? Back at the chase for Gero, the doctor had managed to get back to his lab, only to find a green man blocking the way.
Piccolo, how did you know about my laboratory? I know a lot of things, including that your time is up. It's over, Gero. Ah, that's where you're mistaken, Namekian. Behind that door are more of my kind that are even more powerful than I.
Bring it, said the Namekian, with no hint of worry or doubt. Gero had no intention to fight this one. Instead, he created a crater in a nearby cliff, catching Piccolo off guard, and rushed past him and into his lab to find nothing. The pods with the numbers 17 and 18 on them were not there. Gone.
Even the one marked 16 wasn't here.
What the? He didn't have much time to process this, as the door then burst apart to show a substantial Dragon Team contingent looking back at him, including Piccolo.
So, where are your friends of yours? Said the big green one with a devious grin.
Gero was out of options. He had anticipated many things, including Super Saiyan and its progression, but not the possibility of his stuff being stolen right from under his nose. Who even knew he was here? Briefs, he hissed. Gohan rushed forward and tore Gero apart, with Vegeta providing assistance, keen to do something today. With that, Gero was done. As the dust settled, Gohan thanked Piccolo for coming back and apologized if there wasn't much left to do.
It's all right. In fact, I had been thinking of coming back lately to talk to Kami. I've been thinking about asking him something. Being whole again, perhaps. Might be useful in the grand scheme of things. That, and he can finally come home to where he belongs.
What about the Dragon Balls? Oh, we need them!
You don't exactly need them, Yamcha, but relax. I brought a potential successor. You remember Dende, right, Gohan?
He'd be a great replacement, Mr. Piccolo.
But then the feeling of his father's ki pierced through his mind. It had stabilized. Or so he thought.
Dad, stop weakening. We gotta go see him.
Only for Gohan to meet that guy from the future again. Talking to his dad. He looked miserable and deeply sorrowful, but Goku was still alive though. Gohan walked over to his future self and asked what had happened. I forgot to give you this the last time I saw you. I got so caught up in seeing you, it totally slipped my mind. I almost let my dad die.
Your dad? Does that mean...
Oh, time paradox incoming! The two Gohans locked eyes, and it was only halted by Piccolo's arrival in the room. Mr. Piccolo! They both shouted. Things start to settle, and Goku does stabilize some more. But Dende's healing and the heart medication can only do so much. Since the medicine got to Goku later than in the original, it left lasting damage that Dende could not fully fix, at least not right now. It would require further treatment and healing sessions. It meant that Goku's heart was weaker than before, and it might be the end of his fighting career. It was really hard to say, but right now, he was at least alive. Speaking of surviving, the surviving remains of Gero's creations were left in Bulma's pocket. What to do with them? Well, they were androids and should be destroyed, said Future Gohan. Him finding out they were the 17 and 18 from his timeline, but they hadn't been activated yet. But Bulma said not to be too hasty. I could easily reprogram them to be good guys. Since they're deactivated, there's no risk of them suddenly being revived. Leave it to me. And if things go south, Gohan could stop him. Fair point. Piccolo then asked if he could be excused to go talk to Kami, to which he was. Dende accompanying him, to which the older Namekian was fully expecting.
Welcome back, Piccolo.
I believe we have something to discuss.
Yes, Kami. It's time for you to come home.
And that's where we're going to be leaving things for right now. If you like this idea about Gohan's potential being explored, check out the parallel story here, where his hidden power was much more explosive and just. And I shall see you in the next video. Catch you later!